Proactive strategies for new business developments, depending on which textbook or exam you look at, it may use the word proactive, it may not. But the point is, it's something you can do to look for new business opportunities, and it usually says either domestically or globally. So the first thing we might need to do is explain the proactive approach to change. So there are two approaches to business change. We've done reactive, that's where the business implements change after factors in its environment have caused problems. But we're looking at this one, proactive. The business implements change before factors in its environment have caused problems. And basically what we're doing is we're trying to anticipate future factors that will present opportunities or threats and respond to them now. So here's how that works. Well, if this is this year, or at the end of last year, we would have measured our performance with some KPIs. Well, reactive change is then looking at those and going, what can we do to fix them? That's different to this. Proactive change is looking forwards for the next 12 months, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, and coming up with some strategies. And that's where there's no set list from VCAR here. So we're just using some that, most of the textbooks have here. And we're just going to try and have a set list of things we can do to plan for the future. And some of the questions we might get asked are describe, explain, or outline, same thing. A management strategy the business could use to seek new business opportunities both domestically and globally. Or maybe it could be propose and justify a management strategy the business could use to seek new business opportunities both domestically and globally. Or discuss, evaluate, analyze one of those management strategies. So what we've got here is we might need to describe what one is, pick one that we think is the best, and then justify it by giving it strengths and how it will improve the business. Or maybe we need to do the pros and cons or a weighted analysis and come up with our own evaluation at the end. That's basically what we have to do. And when we say this term here, management strategy, what's that? That is what we're calling the proactive change strategies. So in either of these cases, what we need is something from our list. And first of all, what are domestic and global opportunities? Well, domestic is where an Australian business seeks to produce or sell its products within Australia, and there's some pros with that. We know Australia, we've got existing infrastructure, etc. And there's some weaknesses with that. It's a small market globally, and we can't make anything anymore as a country, and we've got high wages. Global opportunities are obviously when Australian businesses seek to produce or sell products in overseas markets, and the strengths of that are basically the opposite of the weaknesses here, and vice versa. That is not really our topic, that just sort of helps us discuss the following things that we're about to talk about. And that is, we sort of group them, this is not a VCAR thing, but we said, how can we remember these? We can remember there's 3 strategies that change the product and how we sell it, innovation, online shopping and exporting. And 3 where we change how and where we make it, global sourcing of inputs, overseas manufacturing and global outsourcing. And what you need to be able to do is describe each one, come up with its advantages, and come up with its disadvantages. So product innovation, come up with new things, more effective processes, products and ideas with research and development. That's our strategy, and the good news is we get new markets, new technology, and we're the first mover, but it's very time consuming, expensive, and very high risk. It might not work. Online shopping, well, that's obvious what that is. Benefits, new markets, it's cost effective instead of opening up stores online, and growing consumer trend. Weaknesses, costs a lot of money to set up. Then you got to set up your logistics to get the product to the customer, etc. And it reduces the personal contact between consumer and business. We've got exporting, sell the product that we make in Australia overseas. So that's good because we don't have to make new things. We're just selling them in new markets and a greater market size in Australia. Disadvantages, well, companies overseas aren't going to be very happy with this. They're going to compete with us in their own market. There's going to be exchange rates, tariffs, etc. and cultural language barriers. Then we've got the ones about how and where we make it. Global sourcing of inputs. Find the input from a business overseas. We get lower input costs and higher profits, lower prices for consumers, and we still get to maintain our Australian operations, so we've already got existing infrastructure. We're just getting the inputs from overseas. Bad news is we've got to find overseas suppliers, we've got to establish an infrastructure, we've got all those foreign exchange and taxes and so on, and they might speak a different language and have a different culture to us. Finally, we've got overseas manufacturing. You might see that as offshoring. Same thing. We're going to set up an operation system overseas. We still have headquarters in Australia, but we make the thing overseas ourselves. And we've got the same advantages as with global sourcing of inputs. We're just going to capitalize on national competitive advantages here. Some countries are better at making certain things, and we can capitalize on that. The disadvantage is very difficult to set up. Got your exchange rates and your taxes and your cultural language barriers. And then lastly, global outsourcing. Get another business in another country just to do a part of our operations. So it could be the actual producing of the product, customer service, IT support. We get all the advantages of the other ones, okay? But we still maintain our Australian operations because we keep our existing infrastructure. We're just getting some things from overseas. And lastly, same disadvantages as the other ones, but the big one here is we lose control over our operations because another business does a part of it. We don't have total control over it anymore.